Imagine you're a Pakistani soldier being beaten by the Indian Army's advances inside Bangladesh, and then you see the December snowfall like this, and think that they're your friend, the Chinese. You go to welcome them and find that they're Indian paratroopers, the crazy maroon berets, hanging around with their SLRs. What do you do? Today we are going to talk about the first Indian Army airborne assault on the Eastern Front in the 1971 war. This was an airborne assault that crushed an entire enemy infantry brigade inside Bangladesh. The Eastern Command was planning for an airborne assault for a very long time. It was decided that the 101 communication zone that had planned to come from all the way from Tura to Dhaka will have an obstruction at the Pungli Breach north of Tangail after taking the city of Jamalpur. Well, things went according to plan, and here it was clear that when the Pakistani 93 Infantry Brigade would retreat from Maimansingh towards Tangail and towards Dhaka, they needed to be crushed and they needed to be stopped at a position. The position that was selected was the north of Pungli Bridge. This area needed an immediate infantry support. Hence, for this task, an airborne assault was planned. It was under the command of Brigadier Matthew Thomas. Unfortunately, the Eastern Command didn't have many resources, and only one battalion was chosen to take part in this airborne assault. It was the legendary 2 Parachute Battalion commanded by Lieutenant Colonel K.S. Pannu. But careful planning was needed for this operation. Hence, Canberra aircraft from the 106 Squadron of the Indian Air Force that had capabilities for photo recon operations were chosen to find suitable drop zones near Tangail. Also, Captain P.K. Ghosh was chosen to enter Bangladesh from Tura and find his way towards the drop zones near Tangail. He was aided by the Mukti Bahini forces from Qadir Siddiqui. And after this recon mission, the drop zones were chosen carefully. Meanwhile, all-out war was declared against Pakistan. Pakistan was being hammered all the way from all sides by the Indian Armed Forces and the Mukti Bahini. And to dupe the Pakistanis, a fake airborne assault was carried out by dummies that had parachutes strapped to them. And Indian Air Force Caribous carried them and had dropped them. The Pakistanis thought that they might be expecting an airborne assault in this place, but this was just a trap. The real maroon berets were coming, and at 4 p.m. on the 11th of December, from AN-12 Antonovs, from Caribous, from Dakotas, and from Fairchild C-119 boxcars, 700 paratroopers had made static line jumps. They were scattered at first, but within half an hour, these men had regrouped under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Pannu and had got around the Pungli Bridge. They also regrouped with the local Mukti Bahinis serving in that area and soon established defenses. They were reinforced by elements of the 17 Para, and also they had an engineers detachment, an RT battery alongside medical and administrative troops. Pakistani 93 Infantry Brigade was on the retreat, being beaten up by the 101 communication zone of the Indian Army. They were coming. They didn't know what was waiting for them near the Pungli Bridge. As soon as this battered enemy infantry brigade came under the range of the paratroopers who were laying there with ambushes, the paratroopers ambushed and massacred them brutally. Soon, the chasing 95 Mountain Brigade that was coming from Jamalpur also engulfed them and crushed the enemy 93 Infantry Brigade. This was a massive defeat for the Pakistani army. All their plans to regroup at Tangail and then escape towards Dhaka was crushed. In this battle, eventually, the commander of the Pakistani 93 Infantry Brigade, Brigadier Qadir, was captured by the 95 Mountain Brigade and the 2 Para. Eventually, at Pungli Bridge, the 1st Maratha Light Infantry from the 95 Mountain Brigade linked up with the 2 Para. It was a moment of history for the Indian Army, where a small airborne battalion had crushed an enemy infantry brigade and had also managed to link up with the ground forces. This was history. Eventually, after the liberation of Tangail, the 2 Para moved into Tangail. Also, they were one of the first troops to enter Dhaka. Captain Nirbhay Sharma, the 2 Para, who later became Lieutenant General, was one of the first few officers from the 2 Para to enter Dhaka and enter right into the headquarters of Niazi himself, Lieutenant Colonel K.S. Pannu. He received the Mahavir Chakra for leading his men in the battle in Bangladesh. To know more about history like this, subscribe to my channel and like this video. Thank you.